Assalamu alaikum and good evening, GOTV viewers. We welcome you to on one of Friday evening edition of what we will call In Conversation with DF. Unlike our usual Friday roundtable discussions, today's format is a one-on-one dialogue. My guest today is retired Colonel Sam Sarr, and at his request, GOTV is granting him an opportunity to respond to recent allegations of torture by a witness testifying on the TRRC. Mr. Balo Kanteh, a former rebel captain in Charles Taylor's defunct National Patriotic Front of Liberia, and a person who took part in the attack against the Gambian National Army barracks in Farafenni in 1996, leveled accusations at Colonel retired Sam Sarr. Kanteh further alleged that some senior members of the erstwhile Jammeh government's defense and security official, which Sarr was a member, as commander of the Gambian National Army, witnessed the said violence. We will, okay. Mr. Sarr, Colonel retired Sam Sarr, is no stranger to most Gambians. He was once an author. He wrote a book, Meet Me in Conakry, I think, which was very popular with Gambians. And he was a teacher first, and then he traveled to the US for a while, and then he came back to the Gambia and he joined the Gambian National Army. Whilst he was in the National Army, he, like we said, he went up to the rank of being the commander of the Gambian National Army. He was also once a liaison officer between the government of Sadauda Karabajawara and the military, the army. Mr. Sam Sarr, those are very serious allegations, but what we want to make very clear that we call you here today and we answered your request to permit you a medium on a platform where you can come and you can give your side of the story. And we do this in the spirit that, in line with our principal aim, really, we, GOTV, would like to facilitate space for inter-Gambian dialogue. We feel this is necessary that we grant you the opportunity and this medium through which you can state your version of these events, because these are very serious allegations. And then Gambians will hear from you and then they can reach their own conclusions. So we hope our viewers, like us at GOTV, they will watch you with an open mind, they will listen to you with an open mind, and importantly too, they can feel it necessary and they deem that this facilitation that GOTV has done for you is both fair and necessary. Okay, so the viewers, during the dialogue, I will ask the Colonel retired questions, and I will seek clarifications on points I feel that he needs to clarify for us. Additionally, like is the tradition on GOTV, today's program is no different in that it is interactive. We will therefore urge all of you to participate. Ask questions in the usual comment section, and both myself and my guest will do our very best to answer your questions for you. Mr. Sarr, without further ado, I've done a brief introduction of who you are, but if you would like to add anything to that, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think you've said it all, Dave. Thank you very much for this invitation, and I am glad that you were very open to my request to come over here and clarify the situation that happened in 1996 that was really misrepresented at the TRRC with allegations against me, which were very, incriminating and very bad indeed. So I'll just go straight to the subject if you want me to. I don't know whether you want to start from somewhere, but if you don't mind, I can just go and start with the subject, or if you want to lead the questions, I wouldn't mind answering them, and in the process,
Okay.
so the sequence in which I wanted to be approached.
Okay. This is a one-on-one dialogue. Normally, the format we have here is a round table where you have 3 or 4 people, and sometimes a host, and sometimes not even a host. Just everybody's a participant, a panelist. It's a dialogue, so we'll have a dialogue. But I wanted to point out something very important. I'm sure this is very obvious. The management of GOTV and myself as host. We do not feel that we are in any way a substitute for the TRRC. You have neither the competence nor even the skill set to do such a thing. That's quite a monumental task. So, but what we are doing right now is just to accord you a platform and a medium, an opportunity for you to basically just tell us your side of the story. That's what it is. We think that's very, very fair. So I just thought we need to re-emphasize this, that this is not an alternative to TRRC. It's not at all. Okay, thank you. Like I said, you can give us a background. I mean, I've watched Mr. Kanteh's what's it called, testimony. Yes. So I mean, obviously we're not going to be able to show the video here, but most people who are watching this, if they have the interest to come and hear your side of the story, they probably will have done the homework necessary for them to get themselves familiarized with his testimony. So if you want to go and give us an introduction of your career in the army, coming to what's it called, the fateful day 1996, when there was an attack on the barracks in Farafenni, which led to Mr. Kanteh being arrested, and which led to his alleged, his allegation that you were part of the group of people who tortured him. So I mean, the floor is yours, really. Like I said, it's a one-on-one dialogue, but this is to give an opportunity, like we would give anybody, by the way. We cannot overemphasize this. GOTV, the principal aim really is to facilitate a dialogue within Gambians. This is what the primary purpose of this platform is, nothing more than that. So we're not here to make judgments. We're not here to castigate. We're not here to really, it's just as simple as there's a platform. Gambians, we have to learn to communicate. We have to learn to discuss. We have to learn to have discourse about our problems, how we can solve them. So that's why we're here. So you go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Everybody knows who Samsudeen Sarr is. I don't want to go back into, telling people who I am again. But where I want to start from is, I was in Belgium the day of the attack. It was the 24th of October, 1996. We had just traveled from North Korea. I was with Edward Singate, the Minister of Defense then, Oji Sala, the permanent secretary. He was a deputy permanent secretary because Bonjak was the permanent secretary. And even Moses Jallo, the Moses Jallo protocol officer, and Esa Khan, he was also, I think, a DPS at the Ministry of Defense. And we got the information from Brussels that Farafenni was attacked by Gambian officers who were released from Mile 2. And the name of even Sheriff Gomez came up. And I remember Edward was very upset that, these people just released, how can they attack the barracks? And at that time, we were not told exactly what happened. And from Belgium to Dhaka, we were all on edge, In fact, he called me to the first class section. I was on economy, and we discussed what we should do when we arrived. But as soon as we arrived in Dhaka, we had another call saying that no, these were Gambians who were in Liberia fighting for Charles Taylor, and but 2 have been captured. We did not know who these 2 were, but the others have escaped and ran into Senegal. So we arrived that day around very late at night, I guess, Air Brussels. Went home the following morning. I did not even report to duty, to the office. I went straight to the State House, I can still remember, and we had a meeting there where, while some group of officers were still searching the North Bank area to see whether the escapees could be apprehended, because 3 had escaped that we know about. No, more than that. But You know, I was more concerned about the casualties. You know, because I was more or less by then the deputy army commander and tasked with looking after the casualties, the 6 officers, soldiers who were killed, and I have their names here: Sergeant Baji, Bakari Baji, Corporal Sidibe, Corporal Keita, Private Bojan, Private Mane, and Private Said. Saidi, I even knew the uncle. So, I mean, like, I was looking after that, you know, so to see what we can do. And we had a meeting about how we can even compensate them, because compensate the family, and we arrive at the figure. So, but the following day, you know, we got information that Senegal paid these guys to come and attack the Gambia. You know, but by then I have been given some of the intelligence that the NIA had already gathered about them. And that really angered Defense Minister Singate, because I think the brother was the one who even, you know, led the counter-attack team that, you know, foiled, you know, that assaulted them when they were coming around the North Bank of the South. So he was very angry and said that, you know, Senegal, we have to retaliate. You know, in Edward, you know, he said retaliation, we have to retaliate. And, you know, when Babakar Jatta told me about it, these are people who are still around. Babakar Jatta is alive. I spoke to him. You can verify this one. And I told him, oh, Jatta, this is crazy. Gambia cannot attack Senegal, because he was saying that we have to attack Kaolack, use some troops from Farafenni and from troops from Yundum, cross to Bara and move into move to Dakar, Kaolack. I said that would be suicidal, because, you know, from my assessment of who these guys are and the sloppy way they attack the barracks, I did not believe that Senegal would do that stupid thing, that we should go into the root of the cause of this attack, how these people from Liberia came to Senegal. And what was Kukoy doing in Senegal? Kukoy, who was a fugitive, hunted by Senegal since 1981, but because Kukoy, you know, you may know, you already know that he was the leader of the abortive 1981 coup. And as a result, hundreds and hundreds of lives were lost in that counter coup, that abortive coup, including a lot of Senegalese. Many Senegalese were killed, soldiers especially, because they came to quell that coup and restore the PPP government, which was overthrown. So I always said, what was Kukoy? You know, I was so interested in the genesis of what amounted to this than anything else. You know, of course, I was sad and upset, but when it, you know, evolved to where Singate was adamant that we have to attack Kaolack and defend, and nobody was out to stop him. You know, even Jame was quiet in his office. I said, I want to know where this information is coming from. And that is when I called Bagi, you know, to come with me to go and see what is going on at the NIA and where they are getting this information. Because NIA just sold this information that, look, it has to be Senegal did it. So when I walk in, I found the two, Balo Kanteh and Yaya Drame. Yaya Drame was in a very bad state. I think, you know, he was beaten up the previous night, but it was in the morning. The beating had stopped, but he didn't look good. And that really frustrated me. The moment I walked in and saw his condition, I fired up and I said,
yeah. So if I can just, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. You've given us the background to the 1996 coup, obviously. I mean, I wasn't in the Gambia. Obviously, Kuko is a Bastanian school as well. I think I was a little baby, I was a little kid, but I remember the effect it had on Gambians, like somebody like me who grew up in between Brufut and Bakau, you can say. The amount of people from Brufut, like my own family, who were arrested and taken to jail over it, over allegations. So that's why it's important wherever there are serious allegations of human rights abuse. It doesn't matter who the person is. We all have an open mind. We keep an open mind and make sure that we listen to both sides of the story, because it's important. When you mentioned Kukwe, then my mind went back to people like as a kid, people like Pahali Jamme as a kid, who is my relative. And then as a kid, you can remember his name, that, Jawara arrested him. And you can remember my own uncle called Alaji Mane, who is late now. They're both late. And he spent years and years in Mile 2 in those days. And he was there only because he was an NCP stalwart, really. But because he had allegations, and people made a lot of allegations, and then some people, they spent lots of time in jail, and then they never recovered from it, and eventually led to their deaths, untimely deaths. So that's why coming back to why Gunju Online, GOTV, feel it very, very important and necessary that there is a space in the Gambian public space, if you want to call it that, a segment in the Gambian public space where it can also contribute towards this inter-Gambian dialogue. And that's what this is about here. So we're not going to cast aspersions. We're not going to pass judgment. We're going to let Gambians, just like I'm able to, our viewers are also able to sit back and take in what you're saying, and they can, they will reach their own conclusions from it. But I want to come back to this point where you meant for within your own circle of the security services, if you want to call it that, people had this belief that the Senegalese had a hidden hand in these people attacking the Gambia. But before that as well, I mean, we understand some Gambians were in Liberia fighting for for Charles Taylor. So these are well-trained, well-armed, well-seasoned fighters. So just the fact that they're actually Gambians is enough to, is enough to make anybody very, very uncomfortable. But the fact that they took it upon themselves to attack the Gambia, I think that is something else. But then again, like I said, this is not about, because it becomes very easy to become overly moralistic, and it's philosophical here. So we don't want to go there too far. But like we say, we're given an opportunity to say your side of the story. And you mentioned about Singate having this urge. He's a crazy man, anyway. I say that in jest, that he wanted to attack Senegal. I mean, that's suicidal. I mean, you don't have to be a military officer to know Gambia has no chance against Senegal. But I think that's because of the anger, because of the frustration, like you were saying, and because probably he felt that his brother's life might be at risk. So this is also a very important component of the Gambia's reaction. So if Gambian's army, the military, felt that somebody came out from another country within Senegal, forget the fact that Gambia and Senegalese are very related. We are interrelated. You can say we are one people. But again, we are a nation state. As a nation state, that is one continuity, which makes us a people and makes us a little bit unique to Senegalese or to Ghanaians. Or it's superficial, by the way. But we tend to believe it ourselves. So this anger to do something back to Senegal, I'm sure we can all feel that, and we can appreciate it. Not even though if you sit back and very cold and calculated, you will know that it's suicidal. So you're not going to work. But I can understand why somebody in the military, when they catch people who came out from another country to attack them, they will be willing to kill them. So I am actually very surprised that Gambian soldiers didn't kill people like Balo and the other co-conspirators, or if you want to call them that, who attacked the Gambia. They attack our military barracks. Yeah. So that's very, very fundamental here. So the fact that he was actually able to live and tell the tale today, I think that is something else, and which Gambians probably need to actually fall back on. And we need to remember this. Forget the Ajami for a minute.
I'm sorry, I gotta turn.
You might have to switch your phone off.
I gotta turn this off. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
I know you might inconvenience you a little bit, but you might have to switch your phone off because we already 21 minutes into the program. Cover. Just coming back to what I was saying. The fact that the people took it upon themselves, we've got to forget about Yahya Jammeh, how he also took over power. But Gambia is still a sovereign nation. So a sovereign nation, nobody should take it upon themselves to come for another country to attack it. Even people like us who didn't like Yahya Jammeh, we would not feel that's right. Because what that basically breeds is just warfare, continuous warfare and mayhem in our country, which we didn't need. We'll speak about Yahya Jammeh because it's a whole equation here. I mean, we can never move Yahya Jammeh out of this equation. That's a factor. It's a very, very huge factor. But we are going to concentrate on the fact that the Gambian soldiers were humane enough not to kill these attackers. They wanted to actually keep them alive. I think that says a lot. That was my interjection anyway. Thank you.
I just don't want to interrupt you, but if you listen to Damfa, Damfa, who testified the day before, he spoke about how when I arrived at the NIA and they complain about the insufficiency of the food, that that NIA was not providing them enough food. I ordered, in fact, that was Fraser Youth, to make sure that from that day on, all their food was served from the army headquarters. And he said that they used to eat until they throw it away. That's exactly how he put it. Since my intervention, he said, we will eat from that day on and throw away the extra. So, and he never mentioned anything about Sam Sarr touching me. Why would I torture Balo Kanteh and spare Damfa? And they were the two attackers. So that is to tell you, just to reinforce your position that we approach this humanely as possible and as legally as we understood the situation. It was a post-coup d'etat era. Coup d'etat is wrong, but we were managing under the circumstances of, normalizing a post-coup d'etat era situation. And it was a tough one because the soldiers would do stuff that you cannot stop, and it's not legal, but you do as much as you could to make it look better under the circumstances. And I don't know. Well, you can finish your thought there, and I will continue from where I start. And
no, I think basically the allegations he made, they're very serious, and I think we can never shy away from asking you those questions. Yes. That's what the conversation is all about. Yeah. So when he mentioned, he was very detailed on some of the abuses meted out of him from you. Yes, I even gave some demonstrations of how you stamp on his head, and then even at one time he said, what's it called, Jata had to actually speak to you to ask you to stop. So I'm not so. What is your recollection of these events?
Yeah, because that's what I was coming to that, because I had come to the point where I arrived at the NIA because of my concern about Singate's, insistence that we must mobilize troops in preparation to attack Kaula, and I couldn't do that. So when I arrived at the NIA, like I said, I found the two of them there. Yahya Drame. In fact, it was Yahya Drame who was the one malhandled, not him. He was the one who beat up, the previous night, because he was saying that Senegal did not have anything to do with their attack. Okay. Balo was saying that it was Senegal, and they spared Balo. Balo was sitting comfortably, nobody touched him. He was in his clothes fully. Nothing, you see. But you see, the fact that Balo, and when I came in and I was like fighting with these NIA guys, I still say a lot of people who, if you ask my friends, Tonga, a lot of guys, they will tell you that I was even accused of being a Senegalese spy because of how I tried to really, I fight to dispute that it was Senegal who were behind this. And then I turned to Kujabi, and I said, why are you doing this? He's lying. I said, lying about what? Well, Balo said they were paid by Senegal. And I turned around and said, Balo, how could Senegal pay you? And, and the attack failed the way it did. Yes, sir. And I could see the lies in his face. That this guy is a habitual liar.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
To hit your heart. And that's when I tried to attack him with anger, which was very impulsive. It wasn't anything I calculated that I was going to, where are they going to torture them? No. It was out of anger that they would almost kill his friend. And he was still there saying that the friend is lying and he was telling the truth. And that is what pushed me into taking that move. And it was not even serious because Badi, who was equally as powerful, held me. And I swung a kick that I didn't think it was even make any impact. It wasn't.
All right. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry. Let me just jump in here if you don't mind, please. Yeah. So just so that we establish this fact, there was a physical abuse for me. Maybe shouldn't use abuse. Maybe we cannot use abuse. Maybe we can use any other term. But there was a physical attack from you to him. Is that right? Can we establish this?
I moved to attack him.
You moved. So there was an attempt.
Yes.
And you were held back by who? Jatta and others.
Not Jatta. If you like, that's what I said. If the TRRC had consulted Jatta, who is around, or even the National Security Advisor, then, well, his name was not mentioned. He would have told them that it was Biden, not him. But he dramatized it, like romanticized the story as Jatta, the army commander, was there, and after a protracted, observation or endorsement of what was going on the floor, he then stopped me. Everybody was beating me up. Jatta was, to me, even Jatta was culpable because a senior officer looking at this guy being brutalized like that for that long, because it was not only me he was talking about. He was talking about Forebari. He was talking about Jobate. All of them beating him severe, and Jatta was there waiting. That in itself, made Jatta part of the torturers. Like if they had called Jatta, I think the TRRC owed it to their credibility to call Jatta who's always there, and say, Jatta, did this happen? And Jatta would have told them, no, Sarr was not in town. The first and second day he was talking about being tortured. Because even if you listen to the statement, he said that after the first day of their torture, he spent the night at Baba Dinka with Yahya Drame. He said he spent the night with Yahya Drame at Baba Dinka the first night, because everybody was talking about Baba Dinka. And the second day, the torture continued. Why was he tortured? He said, because he refused to admit that he was part of the attackers. And the whole Gambia knew that Balo Kanteh was the first to be apprehended the first hours after he left the barracks to go to the Farafenni hospital to seek medical help because he had a nasty bullet wound injury. And, so everybody knew that Balo was arrested well before even Yahya, but Yahya was arrested after roaming around the forest of the North Bank and couldn't find his way out of Senegal and got tired and slept at a farm, and the farmers saw him with his gun, arrested him and handed him over to the police. But that was, I understand, in the evening. I was still in Dhaka, and they brought him to the NIA. Okay, he slept with Yahya, which is true, at Baba Dinka. I don't want to dispute that. But he said the following day, the torture continued because he still refused to admit being a participant in the attack. Until later that afternoon, they brought in Yahya Drame in handcuffs, and Yahya Drame looked at him and said, Balo. And he said, oh, that is when they discovered that I was part of the attackers. Come on. Where were these people's heads to know that this guy about 5 minutes ago said that he sat with this guy, shit with this thing. Sorry about that. You know, how could they miss that? How could they miss that? I just don't know. You know, so, but he continued the same lies and lies and lies, saying that that's when I came, you know, after Yaya Drame identified him, the beating now was, you know, we just like more beating. You know, so those were the holes that I said, at least Esafal, I was expecting, as meticulous and as, you know, thorough as he normally is, would have said, because even Esafal, after he said that, Adam Hassan said, oh, when was Yaya Drame arrested? And I said, fine, that's it, they got him now. And he says, yes, that's it. The second day, he said, yes, the second day. Oh, okay, go on. I said, what's going on? You know, so I knew there was something very fishy about this guy's testimony. Now, you know, like, okay, I want to stop there and go back a little bit to show the how incredible this guy is. Okay. He said he left the Gambia. Excuse me. He left the Gambia at the age of 23 in 1988. Okay. He has never been to school. He was a farmer. He used to go to Senegal, farm, come back. All right. Then finally, in 1988, he decided to go to Libya to, you know, find whatever. Upon arrival, Libya was in war with Chad, and they were rounded up in the streets and forced into conscription. They were conscripted into the Libyan army and put in a camp to train. As I asked him, how many Gambians were conscripted? He said he could only remember two and name the two, because he said his memory is long ago.
Okay.
After 6 months of training, all of a sudden Kukoy appeared in the camp. And Esafa, what was Kukoy? Oh, Kukoy was the most powerful man in Libya by then. He was a friend of Gaddafi, and he came and picked the men. With men, he named almost over a dozen of the men. Where were they taking them? Or they were taking them to Charles Taylor to help him fight, overthrow the government of Samuel Doe. He named over a dozen. He couldn't remember one person when they were recruited, conscripted. When Kukoy came to take them away, he named over a dozen. Now, why would they conscript you, the Libyans, to fight for them in Chad? And after you graduate, after you finish your training, Kukoy came and grabbed you to take you to fight for Charles Taylor. What's the rationale behind that? You know, nobody can piece out that logic. Nobody asked him that question. Why did they take you to go and fight for? You know, and not only that, you know, and going to Liberia also. What again? What I wanted the TRRC to do was.
So
I said, what I think could have helped the TRRC was to get my video or the press conference video we had with these guys after we captured them, which they say we tried them by media, but Samsudeen Sarr was their spokesman. He spoke good English, he could read and he could write, and very eloquent, and he explained everything that they were recruited by Kukoy, trained them to come and fight in the Gambia to overthrow the PPP government. But as soon as they complete their training, Kukoy gave them a contract. Charles Taylor had a contract with Kukoy to go and fight with help Charles Taylor invade Liberia, change the regime, which they estimated to take not more than 2 months, and then Charles Taylor would give them additional fighters to come and overthrow the government of the Gambia. This was what this guy, Samsudeen Sarr, explained and was confirmed by everybody, including John Danfa, who last week or 2 weeks ago in his testimony said they were not forced into saying anything that they didn't want to say.
Okay. If I can just jump in there, please, Colonel Retired Sam Sarr. This Samsudeen Sarr, I just wanted to. Is he the Senegalese? Because he's not Gambian, Samsudeen Sarr. Is that right?
He is in Banjul. His father was in the fire service department. He is in Banjul. He lives humbly there. And I still don't know why they did not consult Suleiman Sarr to come and testify before the TRRC. If they can get Balo Kanteh, they should have called Suleiman.
Okay, give me 1 second again. I just want to come back in here. Sorry. We don't want to second guess what the TRRC do because they're very competent. I mean, number one, they are legally trained, which I'm not.
They are not competent. Yes. What I have seen so far is not competent.
I mean, yes. I mean, people have got views about the TRRC, but that's not we are here today to join them. I've got my own personal views about them. I've got my personal views, just like anybody else in the Gambia. We have personal views about everybody. Somebody has views about me. Somebody has views about you. Some of them are not very pleasant, but that's just the way it is. But we don't want to second guess them. But somebody might ask. He said, "Okay, why haven't you had your day at TRRC? Why, for example, why are you here giving your side of the story? Why didn't you ask the TRRC to also accord you this opportunity for you to go be a witness or whatever they want to call it? You can also tell the Gambians your side of the story." And what's he called? What's his name again? And the guys at TRRC, they can also have the chance to grill you, if you want to call it that. I mean, it's just a question. What's your answer to that?
Yeah, if you could remember when the TRRCs first started, they started. You know, the first witnesses included, hold on, something is not right here. The first witnesses included military officers, and I shared the same detention center at Mile 2 immediately after the coup. They said a lot of things about me, you know, illustrating Samsudeen Sarr as somebody who had gone mad at the prison center. You know, it was very, very damning. You know, my family members were all very sad about that. But they know that I explained this to them, what happened, and I wrote it in my book, what happened there. And the majority of officers who testified there, who were very close to me, knew that everything that they had said was a lie, but nobody, you know, came out to say what they are saying about Sam Sarr is not true. Now, and so I was expecting from them at that time that they were going to call me to listen to my version. And I made efforts through my friends, you know, who know them, to say Sam Sarr is interested in coming. But they said I am not relevant to their investigation. This is the message I got from them, that I am not relevant to their investigation.
Sorry to interrupt you again. Sorry to interject here. Are you telling me and our viewers that the TRRC, despite your role in the army, despite your rank in the Gambian army during the Jammeh, and then obviously when you left the army and then you become like a Gambian's ambassador to the UN, they didn't feel it you are a worthy witness to be not grilled? I wouldn't even use the word grilled. That maybe that's probably too controversial. But even to see that, oh, this might have some valuable information we might be able to derive from him. They didn't think you were valuable enough witness for them to speak to you. Is that what you're claiming?
Exactly. Because you know what, you know, the story Esa Fall methodically led these guys into pronouncing finally. I even see Kanteh, whom I felt was not sincere, you know, being led. I think he was like, he was pushed to finally say, yeah, Sam Sarr was mad. And you could see it in him. I could understand Kambi, because Kambi did not know what the joke was all about. But Sirif Gamas, whom I was very close to, his cell was next to mine, knew. When he came, he never said anything. Chongan, who was with Mama Cham at the order they confined and hidden away from us since the night of their torture, did not say a word. But Mama Cham, who was hidden away for so long and didn't know what was happening, came to confirm that yes, Sam Sarr was mad, without even saying that I was not there. But they put him in his brigadier general uniform and made him look so credible that people didn't doubt it anymore. I was even hoping that when Dr. Jai, the only medical doctor who was among us, appeared at the TRRC, ESA would have taken him back to that incident to seek the opinion of a doctor on the ground. But they never mentioned that. So it was to drive this that I am a recovering lunatic. You know, I think they by now know that I am not. But you know, all those things were to, you know, I think to tarnish my character, to tarnish my image. That's what I believe. And if they couldn't, at that time, call me and went through everything and closed that chapter, I would still have been called before they closed the chapter of that episode. But they did not. So that tells you that there is something fundamentally wrong here. Just like now, it looks like they have closed the chapter of the Farafenni attack without calling Suleiman Sarr. If you remember, there was one soldier who came one time and said, look, you guys are investigating the atrocities that happened in the country during the past 22 years. Know that our fellow soldiers were killed in cold blood by attackers from outside. And you don't want to, why don't you want to investigate it and see what will happen? Like their families are here. That's the Farafenni attack and Khartoum attack. Esa Fall came and said, look, the Farafenni incident is not part of our mandate. What changed to make it their mandate overnight?
Okay. Sorry to interrupt again, Colonel Retired Sam Sarr. Basically, we're going by what you're saying, and we don't have any reason to doubt you. Mr. Sarr, what was he called? SR is not here to give us his side of the story, if you want to call it that. But I find it incredulous. No, it's okay. So I'm not doubting you. Just give me one second. I'm not doubting you. Cool.
Yeah, go look at the tapes. The tapes are there, and I am telling you.
I'm coming. That's what I was just about to say. I don't think it's too late. I don't know what the remit is. I don't know what the remit is. But if you got adversely mentioned in that place, I think it should be your right as a Gambian. Somebody actually mentioned that in comments, by the way. So I'm paraphrasing what somebody said. I think it's a very important point. As a Gambian citizen, I think they should give you that opportunity for you to be able to go in, like we give an opportunity to come here. You know, we are not government mandated, by the way. So we don't, and we are not trained. We don't even pretend to know the first thing about litigation, the first thing about questioning somebody. Especially the allegations here are very, very serious. These are fundamental human rights. It's abuse of somebody's basic human rights, really. Whether they are soldiers, where they are, you know, somebody came to attack the Gambia, but the moment is held and it's captive, it's a captive by a military, a government, like you are an organ of our military, you are a member of the organ of our defense. So you have a UN right. There's a UN charter, if you want to call it that, a protocol to treat that person with some respect, with some dignity, but importantly, not to torture them. So, but I think it's very important that the fact that TRRC, like you alleging, TRRC do not feel it fit and proper to call you as a witness. I find it really hard to understand. But now we have this problem where somebody is up there making serious allegations against you, but you don't have this opportunity to defend yourself. I struggle with that a little bit. So I'm not sure what mechanisms are there for you to request to be accorded the chance to go on TRRC. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, as I say, I understand what you're saying, but you know, I think I would have really preferred before they even called me to call Suleiman Sarr, who is in Banjul, to hear from him. What happened, you know, and compare it with the stories being told by Balo Kanteh, because Balo Kanteh was not even fit to come before the TRRC, looking at all the lies he presented to them, and they couldn't see any of it before he arrived. Like, for instance, he told them that I lied to my parents when I came. For almost 7 years, they did not know where I was. when I was fighting in the jungles of Liberia. The day I arrived, they celebrated it because they said they had thought that he was dead somewhere, and they even, produced the normal charity for him, And but then, soon as the celebration died, he went to the dad and said, "Oh, I was in Europe. I had fleet of cars." This is what he told in 1996. They are in Dhaka. I need to, bring them over. He told us, and now listen, at that time he told us only one cattle, but now he said two. But it was one cattle. He said it was only one cattle, and they all confirmed it. It is in their notebook where they were to compensate him with $2 million for swindling his parents with the extra cattle, to go and buy weapon to come and attack Farafeneba. That should have disqualified this big liar. If you can do that to your parents who thought, okay, not saying that when they came to Farafeneba, he deceived the person he asked to wait for his business partners, because they were businessmen, to wait for the night to attack Khartoum. So this is a serial deceptive person. And that when they came, he also said that as soon as they got into the camp, they scared the soldiers away. That's those who are on guard. And everybody was laughing, not knowing when they scared the soldiers away, the weapons they had, they turned it into soldiers who were running out of the camp and started killing them one after the other. And they were all laughing. Now, again, he went further to say that when the light came up, they started firing, and they started a firefight with the soldiers, and the soldiers were firing mortars. Mortars, had they not got any soldier around to tell them that is practically impossible to fire mortars in that small confinement, they don't even have mortars. And where were they doing these mortars? Because they broke into the armor to take out the weapons. So where were these guys firing mortars from? He said that's how he got his injury. All these are lies that, if you listen to Suleiman Sarr's story, is opposite completely from what this guy said. They came, they assaulted the barracks. Yes, they overpowered the guards. Some of them, all of them ran away. They got the weapons of the sentry and the guards. And then when they were about to leave the guard room, according to Suleiman Sarr, somebody mistakenly turned off the light, and they panicked and they fired. And that's where he got his injury, and Balo Kanteh. Then it was Yahya Drami who started running around the camp, looking at those who were trying to escape and shooting them. Yahya Drami confessed to me that Sarr killed all of them.
Sorry.
Look, all Geneva Convention, they respect no rule. You're talking about United Nations law of war. They don't understand. They did not respect. They violated all of them. In Angola, people like this, we are
sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So sorry, Mr. One second. Give me 1 second. Okay. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I just want to bring us back to the core of why we're here, the crust of the matter, really, if you want to call it that. Is his allegations against you. I think somebody could say that just sour grapes. Basically, he mentioned adversely mentioned you. So now you basically taking this opportunity to tarnish his image. We have no way of just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. We don't have just give me 1 second. We don't have any way of confirming what you're saying about him. They could be allegations, they could be conjecture, they could be anything. But I just want to move. Yes, one second. That's why I think it's important. We just deal with the central. We just actually deal with the central question. Which is
about this tape? Listen, the tape. The tape discredit this guy completely.
That's one thing. Yes.
The tape, and nobody wanted to show him. You're lying. This doesn't make sense. Yes. Doesn't. But they were just cheering him. That is why people like you believe that he was credible.
No, one second. I mean, like I said, we are independent minded. Let me make that very, very clear. We are no, we non-partisan here. We just we provide a platform, an opportunity, and a medium for people, Gambians, to have a discussion, which I think is very, very important. But we're not taking sides here. Like I said, we all got our personal sentiments about everything. We Gambians, like you and Balo, Kanteh, and everybody else. What happens in the Gambia affects us. So we have our own personal sentiments, but we want to put that to one side. There are serious allegations, and these are what you are here. You ask us to give you the opportunity and the medium and the platform so that you can come and you can basically tell us your side of the story. So that's why we're here. So when it comes to he was a liar, you know, he did this, he's that. I mean, it could be true, it might not be true, but we just want to deal with. Yeah. Yes, I understand. I understand where you're coming from. It might be integrity, you know. Yeah, it's okay.
He said he's in the tape. He said I swindled my father, and he said it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, yeah. I lied to him.
Yes, so that's fine.
You know,
okay. Okay. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Those are very, very valid points. But why our focus here today is his allegations against you. We would like you to refute those.
He's a liar. He is a liar. He is a liar. A liar can say anything.
Okay.
This guy, they cut his Jomate cut his nipple, you know, and he never talked about his story before 2016. He swindled some low IQ people.
No, sorry, Colonel. We don't want to go there, because what I mean is like there are so many peripheral issues here. If you want to deal with peripheral issues, you can never. We need to concentrate on the core.
The character is flawed. This character is a fraud. He's a fraud.
But my point with that is somebody can just sit back and say, yeah, you're trying to assassinate this guy's character because he exposed your cruelty to him. You abuse his human right.
What is worse than saying that I tortured him when I did not?
Yes, exactly. So that's why I want us to go back to that. I want you to refute those. I want you to refute those point by point. But if you try to point, oh, he's a liar, he's there, I mean, it doesn't take us anywhere. That's not why we're here. Because I mean, you have your opinion about him. We probably got his opinion about him. One of the viewers got their opinions about me, and then you and go. But you know, but if we just stick to the main focus, if we can just focus on the main points, if you are able to refute what he's saying, and then even his character, his integrity, which you think obviously that you know is in question.
Been appearing at the TRRC.
Well, that's for the people in TRRC to make that judgment. That's a judgment call for them. We are not competent enough to actually speak about that, let alone to judge that. But what we would like you to do continuously is to try and tell us, refute, you know, like point by point, why you think this guy, what he said is not true. So, like I said, it's incredulous to me, and I think to lots of people who are viewing this program, that a man in your caliber, you know, like not your caliber as a person as such, but where you were in the whole hierarchy of the military dictatorship. I mean, somebody can call it dictatorship. I do, by the way, but that's personal. So we move that to one side. Let's be very independent here. The military hierarchy. They don't feel it necessary, and that they should call you onto TRRC. I find that very, very hard. But I mean, you give us reasons why they've not done that. But I think if somebody from the TRRC or somebody else in the viewers are here and they have an open channel to any member of the TRRC, I think it will be a very, very valid question and genuine question to ask them. Why is Mr. Sam Sarr not being asked to come and provide evidence? I think that's very important.
If you look at it, they look for more victims, they say, than perpetrators or whatever. Or I don't know, whatever. But at the middle, you know, it's no longer important to me, because I know that I you know, history, you know, it's an era where the whole world is watching, you know, and I have thank God, I know how to defend myself, you know, and I will go and reach out. People have said, yo, just shut up until they call you. No, I'm not that type of person. That's why I was very unpopular in the army. Because even the British, the Nigerians, they know that Sam Sarr will question anything that he doesn't understand, and I will challenge them on anything that I feel is not properly done. I have always been like that. So even without the TRRC, if somebody else had come. I have heard about Balo Kanteh's allegations before, but I never thought they would bring him before the TRRC to say the lies he did. What I'm saying is a lie. Saying that the first day of this torture, I clearly told you I was in the second day, I was not there. They could have verified that. I went there the third day, I did not touch him because I was restrained by my partner. I did not go there to torture anybody. I went there, and when I saw what was going on, and pushing us to the brink of a war with Senegal, and I would have been part of it, and probably would have been killed, I impulsively reacted to that situation, but I was stopped, and I was glad that Badi was there to stop me, because that is not me. Anybody who knows Sarr will tell you, Sarr is not a brutal person. I am very reasonable. I know what is right and what is wrong. Things, they could quote me, people could say, oh, this is like that, is that. But if you come to know me personally and come close to know who Sarr is, you will know that he is not the devil some of these people are painting me to be.
Thank you so much for that. I mean, those are personal opinions, like I said. And people have negative opinions about other people. So we shouldn't don't be overly concerned yourself about it. Really, there's nothing we can do about it. Yes, but I'm just because I can't get away from this. That this guy was very categoric. He was very specific. And he was very detailed about the brutality. That you actually stamp on his head with your military boots. You kicked him, and he fell. He actually saw a demonstration of being, in a prostrated position, and you were stamping on his back.
Who was his witness? Who was his witness?
Yeah. Well, okay. Yes, I mean, obviously, it's natural for you to say that didn't happen. There are people there, like you were saying, Mr. Jatta was there, to your shock and to my utter horror, and he's not been asked either. But then that is something we don't have any control over. That's for the guys at TRRC to decide who they're going to call. But I can never get away from this question, why somebody like you, they wouldn't invite you to the TRRC, or Mr. Jatta, or if somebody get adversely affected, Ozzy mentioned, I'm paraphrasing one of our commenters, he actually, very, very good contributions, actually. So I think, as a Gambian, I think they at least need to give you that privilege. If they don't think it's your right, at least they can accord you that privilege to say, okay, some Mr. A came and said this about Mr. Sarr. We also going to give Mr. Sarr the opportunity. But like you said, if the whole rationale about the TRRC is victim centered, if you want to call it that, or is focused on victims, then maybe I can understand that they might think that you're an abuser. So you're not a victim. You are the victimizer. So I am just second guessing here, which I don't like to do. Maybe that's the rationale why they don't invite you. But I think if somebody, mention you, on there, I think you should probably look into means of trying to get yourself on what's it called, on TRRC. I don't know how possible that is, but I think that's very, very important. But we're gonna come to the very soon. We're gonna come to the end of this program. Like you said, like I said, and that's why we're here. There's been allegations. We can prove it. Probably TRRC can prove it. But at the end of the day, it's a commission, if you want to call it that. So, but it's very important you be honest with us, and I don't have any doubt that you are. But be honest with us as Gambians and tell us, yes, this is what happened, and I hit this guy, I did this to him, I did that to him. But if you just sit back and denial, I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying you did. But these are very serious. They're very, very serious allegations.
That's why I'm reaching out to everybody. I reach out to the Freedom newspaper. I have been writing constantly. I've sent it to newspapers that don't even want to publish it. Just to make my point known that this guy is a serial liar who came and lied to these people. And I think all the lies he had said there were verifiable before they brought him before us. If John Danfa would come the previous day and said not a single gunshot was fired when they attacked Farafenni barracks and that nobody died. Balo Kanteh also changed that. He said there was gunfight, but nobody died. Come on. bring the names of these 6 people I just mentioned now and say, who killed these people? Probably they think nobody died. But you see, I think this is the way the TRRC has been functioning. SFR, when you come and dispute something, he brings you the evidence and say, what about the suggestion that this and this happened? And what about this thing? I would read this for you to hear it. But they did not even want to talk about the people who were killed there, as if they want to accept this guy's statement that nobody was killed. These are the things that make me feel that there is something fundamentally wrong with the TRRC. You might not want to hear it because you are taking you have made your decision. They are too competent to be. They are not. That's my position. To be honest with you, that's what it is. I'm sorry to say that if you don't like it, but that's the position I have about them. I have seen so many more in the way they conduct their investigation, but I think they should have even retained the Balo to tell them that mortars cannot be fired in that confinement. And there were no mortars in that barracks at all. You should investigate this before you bring this liar before you to lie to you. He saying that he could disappear. When mortar shells are coming, he could order them to land over there and they will land. Those are the people, if you read my book, whom I have no patience for because they are suicidal. They could do anything in this world. I don't tolerate it. If you ask Mr. Sambo, Louis Sambo, we have spoken about this, that, the army is the army's tactical competency is even undermined by this belief that soldiers think their duties are better than their tactics. Very dangerous. 1994, the majority of soldiers all walked in a way that if a firefight had started, a lot of people would have died. So these are people I don't encourage anywhere. Like he said, he could disappear. If you fire AK-47 rounds can turn into water. And you entertain this fool. The international community is watching these characters and they wonder, what kind of TRRC are these people running? If we were that good with supernatural stuff, nobody will colonize Africa. Come on.
All right. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. This is a very serious matter. Yes. It's a question worth asking. If bullets can turn to water, indeed. But yes. So basically, to conclude, your counter, what you're saying is what has been said in the TRRC by this guy's testimony. It should not be believed. That it's not based on fact, and it's a character assassination. And various colorful adjectives we could use, really. But that's your fundamental point anyway, that this guy made up stories about you. They didn't abuse him. You attempted to kick him, and then your colleagues held you back. Obviously, the problem everybody has on TRRC maybe, and in their own infinite wisdom, I'm not sure why they wouldn't invite Mr. Cha. Was all people who he claimed were present when this happened to basically either confirm what he said or to refute it. But that we're not here to, like, I know you mentioned that, or maybe I'm a TRRC fan or something. Like I said, we're very independent. We are very independent.
You sound like one on steroids.
Thank you so much. No, we're very independent, and I really hope that the chat we have, the dialogue. I'm hoping that it was rational. I was hoping that it was not overly partisan, because I am not. I know you're joking with me, Colonel, and this is what this platform is all about. Coming back to let me come back to when I started, and we always mention this all the time on Gunju GOTV. We are here to provide a space for Gambians to dialogue. That's what it's all about. Sometimes people get upset. People might even use foul language, but that's human nature. So, but as long as we are talking, we are making progress. Okay, so that's what this is all about. So you reach out to us. We said we'll give you a platform. Come and give your side of the story, which you have. So what we can say from it, what we can conclude from it is like the guy is not trustworthy. People will reach their own decisions, their own conclusions on that, and that's what we're doing. So really, unless you have something else further to say, I mean, the platform is yours. Go ahead and speak to Gambians, like your brothers and sisters and uncles and aunties and nephews and nieces. We are Gambians at the end of the day, but there has been some fundamental human rights abuses in the Gambia, which we can never try to push under the rug or under the carpet, because it will not do our country justice. It will not give us peace. So we'll have to discuss it. I've got some concluding remarks myself anyway, but if you got anything else further to add, please, by all means, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me, Dave. And I'm sorry if I, at some point.
No, I'm not offended. Come on. No.
But, I want you to know that I have never been a bad officer. I spent literally, after the coup d'etat, I worked with the government of President Jammeh for 3 years, 1996 to 1999. And I left the country, and within that period, officers and soldiers will agree with you if you ask them that I did not hurt anybody if I couldn't help them. Most soldiers who had, encountered problems in the government, the army, outside, inside, and were taken to the NIA, were followed by me. I will follow them there and ask them why they are there. And we will talk until they tell me whether what they have brought them there for is true or false. I can say 99.9% of every soldier who was taken to the NIA and I went there, I have got you free and nothing happened to them. I can name you names. Kendall Ture was one of them. There was a day we got up one morning and they said he was organizing a coup. And I went there to Yundum and talked to him, and he told me a different story. He would have been taken to NIA, and what would have happened, nobody knows. Badinka, Alpha Bar, Second, were one morning arrested and taken to the NIA without nobody took permission from me, without my knowledge. They called me at 5 a.m. and said they were taken to the NIA because they were organizing a coup. I went to the NIA and I found one soldier whom they said reported them. And I told the soldier to give me his evidence. That look, if you can give me evidence, I will be happy because these guys are going to be killed. But I will be happy to announce your name as the person who revealed the evidence. And you will be responsible. And he said, no, sir, they misunderstood my statement. I did not say that they were organizing. I said, he thought they were organizing a coup because he had them talking somewhere. And I said, what did they say? Oh, it wasn't even clear. That moment, somebody called Jammeh and said, Sarr is interfering with the investigation. Jammeh said, get out of that place. I went to the headquarters. After 2 hours, I came back and said, what have you found? I remember Alma Mumani and Musa Jammeh just walk out and say, Sir, we are very sorry. This guy is a liar. And that day, we went to the State House. It was a Sunday. We talked to Jammeh and we dismissed him. He wanted to even keep them in the bar, keep them at the NIA for this. I said, no. If we keep them here tomorrow, people will say officers have been arrested for planning a coup. What are we waiting for? Let's also start planning. That's why I went against it. They were out. There was another day, they called me and said, we have to move all the troops from Yundum to Farafenni and all the troops from Farafenni because we have intelligence that Sewu Sabali is sending some mercenaries to free Sana Sabali from the jail, and Vincent Jata, who was at Yundum, is going to work with them and provide the troops to go and attack the prisons. I say, what relationship has Sewu Sabali got to Sana Sabali? Because of these last surnames, they're not related in any way. And it was like this that they said it was an Ivorian. Where is the Ivorian who gave you the they said, after a struggle, they finally told me he was at Fajara Hotel. We went to Fajara Hotel and this guy had disappeared. And I said, okay, we have numbers from Senegal. Let's find out from Senegal, because he gave us an address where the mercenaries were grouped up in Senegal. We called there. They realized that it was a dustbin. It was a dustbin. So you see, this is why I used to go to the NIA every time. I wasn't doing it for Jammeh. I was doing it for myself. Because in the list of those officers who were to be killed by the attackers of Farafenni, I was number 3 in their book. That after they take over the country, I was going to be the 3rd person they would kill. So I knew whoever had the chance to kill Jammeh will not spare me. And so I was working for myself as part of the junta. And, I was happy that in 1999, I left. When I had the opportunity to leave, people had tried mediation for me to come back. I said, it's over, and I'm glad it was over. So, I am just telling you that I am not, Damfa had said it, I cannot be feeding Damfa and all of them with food and torturing Balo Kanteh. Balo Kanteh, none of his statements added up. If you follow the tape with an open mind, you'll see that this guy lied consistently from beginning to end. But how these people, this competent TRRC, couldn't see his lies really beat my imagination. I thought they were more intelligent than allowing this fool to fool them, because they were fool. So this is all I have to say. Thank you very much for what you have, the time you have given me. And one more thing before I go, Balo Kanteh, the same Balo Kanteh, before the coup, were fool people to raise funds for him, saying that the NIA put him on a red hot charcoal furnace and burned all his bottom. Now, and they raised a lot of money and sent it to him, from America. I don't know why he did not mention that at the TRRC, because I think a green buttocks is more serious than a cut nipple. And when he was talking to these guys about raising funds, he never talked about his nipple. I know that his nipple was cut in Liberia. I know the day it was cut and whom he was with at that time. Because the person he was with, one Momodu Musukeba Sise, was buried alive that day. He was captured as a rebel. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Colonel Retired Sam Sarr. Thank you. Fascinating. On behalf of GeoTV, I wish to thank our guests, obviously, our viewers, for your time this evening. Importantly, we hope this dialogue was both helpful and very useful in shedding some light on what we can only describe as a tiny, inconsequential cog in a much bigger wheel of the process our country has to embark to solve, to lay to rest what happened for during 22 years of Yahya Jammeh. It will certainly be an arduous journey, that's for sure. But this is a journey we must take with dedication, because through it, it will accord us the opportunity to reckon with our past. Along the way, obviously, through this process, we'll have views, we'll have divergent views, and but we have to go. We have to continue this because like this platform, like I keep on saying, platforms like this, specifically for GeoTV, that's the whole essence of setting this up, so that we can provide a space for Gambians to have a dialogue. Because it's only, but Gambians have to dig deep. We have to dig very deep in our souls, and also accept the truth that, like other societies, Gambians are neither special nor unique. Like other human societies, Gambians are capable of meting out the most unimaginable brutality and cruelty to each other. The TRRC is an eye-opener sometimes. I've not watched it for a very long time. Yes, the last time I watched TRRC before you sent me this was actually last November, would you believe it? But we have to accept this fundamental truth. When we accept this reality that Gambians are not unique, we're not exceptional, then maybe the journey will start, a journey of soul searching. It's a much needed healing, but primarily these TRRC and all other mechanisms we're going through, they need to be centered around how victims can find justice. I think that's the most important point here we would like to make. On that note, I'll say good night to Colonel Retired Sam Sarr and our viewers. It's been very fascinating. We are here, Gunjur Online. They provide this platform for Gambians. Anytime you feel like you need to have a discussion, just give us a call. We'll be here. Good night, everybody. From the management and the technical staff of GOTV and our guests, once again, Colonel Sam Sarr, good night and have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you.
Very much, Dave. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Yeah, okay.